Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, and today I am with Andrew. How's it going, dude?
Good, how are you?
Should we shake hands?
Sure.
So tell people why you are here today.
We're here to talk about the top 6 metal gems from the 80s.
And why do you think you're qualified to do so?
Well, I'm a self-proclaimed metalhead.
Yes.
I mean,
look at your shirt.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's all about the metal, man.
That's right, metal and video games. And so, I've known you for a little while, and you make some awesome stuff that I wear on the channel. But again, you are a metalhead, and so when you were coming to Seattle, I was like, dude, we've got to come up with our top 6 hidden gems, desert island albums, right, from the 80s.
Yes.
This is from the 80s, right? And you jumped right in.
Oh, of course. I mean, I love metal. Like, it is seriously probably my favorite genre. I mean, I grew up on the classic rock and roll, but metal is really where it kind of hit a nerve.
And you impressed me with your list because I wasn't familiar with any of them, which is one of my favorite things, right? You know?
Well, I definitely did my research on this.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have come up with some of the, more classic hidden gems, I guess, but I actually took this as a personal challenge to do my own research. I listened to a ton of music. I think some people are going to find some really interesting stuff in these albums. And
some controversy with my choices, but I'm prepared, man. I got my fists up. I'm ready to fight. So, all right. Well, I think I'll go first.
All right.
Okay. So for me, this is going to be a little bit controversial, but I don't care. It is OWar, and that is Fighting the World. So, were you familiar with this album?
I'm familiar with OWar.
Yes. So the interesting thing about OWar is that, for one, they sound like a British or European band, but they're actually from New York. And I had no idea, right?
Yeah.
Because when this came out in 1987, they were unlike any other band at the time. 87 was the year of Bon Jovi and Def Leppard, right?
Right.
And here comes this band that is just, I mean, they embody metal. You know, and that classic Viking, you know, kicking their ass, Dungeons and Dragons lyrics and stuff. And to be honest, at the time when I was in high school and this came out, I didn't get it. I didn't like it. They had a video on MTV called "Blow Your Speakers." It was terrible. It was horrible, right? And so I didn't get it, and most people in America did not get it, and so. This kind of skipped by. It's a total hidden gem now. People in Europe, that's where they got their following. And so people in Europe who are watching this video are going, OWar, seriously? You guys? No, trust me. In the US, this is a total hidden gem. But more on that, it's just a fantastic album. I love this album. Nowadays that I have this is like constantly played in my game room.
I'll have to check that out.
You should check it out. And actually, more to the point, OWar make many great albums. So now that I've kind of gone back and researched them, their catalog is awesome. So this is my first pick. So what do you got?
All right, I have the metal album Angel Witch.
Yes.
By the band Angel Witch. I actually discovered this while playing a video game. Actually, Tim Schafer's Brutal Legend.
Awesome game. Amazing soundtrack.
Oh, one of the best soundtracks, I think, in any video game.
Yes.
Yeah, so this actually was one of probably the deeper hits on there.
Yeah.
They actually really dug deep in that.
They really did. Like, instead of just pulling out all the hits that everyone knows, which is what a lot of video games do typically.
Yeah.
Dude, Tim Schafer and they go so deep. So many songs I'd never heard before.
I mean, it really shows like his love of the genre too. I think.
Yes.
And just being able to drive around in that car in that open world environment. Say what you will about the gameplay. I mean, I personally loved it.
Right.
But I seriously drove around for hours. Just listening to metal, blowing up shit. Like, driving around in that roadster, like.
I know.
Oh, it was so great. But yeah, so these guys also, and I mean, their title track, well, also named after the band, is one of the catchiest intro songs ever. Like, you are going to be hooked, seriously. But the rest of it is also just amazing. And these guys are one of the very first to really cover some of that Dungeons and Dragons themes that metal is now famous for.
Right.
Really recommend checking this out. It's a little bit hard to find. This is actually the re-release. If you can find the original, just pick it up. You will be so happy that you did. But yeah, Angel Witch. Yeah,
it's funny you mentioned that. So a lot of this early 80s metal, especially the stuff that came from overseas, is getting really hard to find.
Yeah.
Collectors are looking for it, and people who have it aren't selling.
Oh, no.
You know?
Yeah.
But this re-release actually, it's pretty funny. Is that when I knew we were going to do this video, I was doing some hunting for vinyl, and I just happened to see it, and I tweeted you. I'm like, dude, is this it?
Yeah, I was surprised. Like, even the re-release is hard to find. Like, even the normal places you get the re-release kind of newer stuff, like Amazon, sold out. eBay, you want to pay more for it? Sure.
Right, yeah. And you found it here in Seattle?
I did, and then I came over here, we did some record hunting before shooting some videos, and yeah, I found Seattle. It too, so...
We know our music.
Yeah, it was great.
All right, so next up for me, going to be a little bit controversial, but I don't care, and that is the second album by Def Leppard. It's called High and Dry. This album originally came out in 1981, and... The reason why this is a little bit controversial is because everybody knows about Def Leppard, right? But most people know about Def Leppard, that really hair metal mid-80s thing that they did, where Pyromania and Hysteria were mega hits. Hits, right? Everybody knows Pour Some Sugar on Me. However, when this album came out, it did not do that well. It was only after Pyromania came out that they went back and remixed a ballad off here called Bringing On the Heartbreak.
Right.
That's when this album really started to take off. However, ignore that. I'm not a fan of ballads. Instead, get this album if you're looking for some deep cuts from Def Leppard when they were part of that, that wave of new British heavy metal.
Right.
Because this is a really rocking album. It's packed full of songs that I still love to listen to today, and we were just listening to it before this. It's got a lock groove.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's going, no! It's so annoying.
Best way to get you to swap the record.
You're like diving for the turntable.
Yeah.
But anyways, if you haven't listened to it, definitely pick up High and Dry from Def Leppard.
Perfect.
All right, you?
All right, so I got another not really well-known band.
I had not heard of this.
Yeah, not even the record, but the band is not very.
But they have a pretty awesome name.
They do. They are Killer, and that one is Wall of Sound. Yeah, how more metal can you get than Killer?
You know what this cover looks like, though? A K-Tel Records cover. Do you remember K-Tel?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it even has... I mean, it also kind of looks like that GTR record.
Oh, yes.
If I saw this in the store and I didn't know what it was, I probably would skip over it, because I figured it's probably just some, bargain bin, classic rock kind of... But this is honestly so good. If you like Motorhead, I mean, these guys get a lot of similarities drawn between them. It's also a power trio, lots of fast, speedy rock. I mean, what more can I say? If you like Motorhead, get this album.
It really reminded me of that. Also, a little bit of that classic Judas Priest sound was in there as well.
I could definitely see that too. For
sure. Yeah, definitely. And I should say also too, we're not playing this music in this YouTube video because simply of copyright. We just can't risk it. However, we're going to link down in the video description below to where a playlist where you can listen to some of this stuff. So if you want to kind of dig deeper.
Yeah. Another weird thing about this is a Belgian rock band. So I don't know how many Belgian rock bands you can name, but that also might have attributed why they were not so well known.
Could be. All right, my final pick for this video, I'm going controversial, and that's because I mentioned Judas Priest. So in the early '80s, Judas Priest was on fire. They made some, late '70s to early '80s, they made some great albums, and then they really struggled in the hair metal area, or when it started
to shift. Yeah,
exactly. And they put out Turbo, which at the time I liked, but not a lot of people liked because it had guitar synths. And originally Turbo was supposed to be a double album. It's supposed to be called Twin Turbos, and so they actually had enough music to release both, and they didn't. The record label basically denied them, which actually I think worked in their favor, because Turbo was criticized for having a little bit of synthesizers in it, and so when it came time to release Ram It Down, they had some time to kind of rework it a little bit. However, they made a huge mistake in that they released a cover, Johnny Be Good, as their lead single for this album. Yes, and I remember seeing that at the time on MTV going, what the hell is this crap? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why am I recommending it now? Because this is a good album. This is actually a really, if you find that you're not liking Turbo because of the hair metal aspects, get this album, because this is where they start moving over into the Painkiller, which I have here. So if you're wondering how they got to Painkiller and that really heavy sound, this is how.
Okay.
Like, There are many songs on this album where you're like, oh yeah, like the double kick and the speed and all that stuff.
Nice.
It's here on Ram It Down.
All right.
So, also too, I want to just mention though that, again, I like Turbo Now.
Yeah, no.
And they released a 30th anniversary of it, so, you know, if you're looking for something to go a little bit deeper into the Judas Priest catalog, Turbo and Ram It Down.
And I will admit, I picked up the re-release too. So.
Yeah, I know.
It is a good album.
I think over time, fans have kind of put it into perspective.
Yeah, and I think inside of their whole collection, it makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you're saying, they were just having a hard time shifting.
They really were, and
turbo shifting.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and your last pick.
Yeah, so mine is probably the most obscure out of these, I think.
With one of the most epic covers.
With one of the most epic covers is Manila Road, Open the Gates. These guys are Kansas, so they're not actually New Wave British heavy metal.
Kansas, you said?
They're from Kansas.
Oh, okay.
So they are really heavy metal. I would liken them... When I was looking for new albums for these, for this video, I was trying to find something a little more in the vein of Black Sabbath. Mm-hmm. Something a little more doom, something a little more heavy. Yeah. So these guys take a lot of the Arthurian kind of fantasy genre and really kind of grind it together with that heavy sound. It's not for everyone, and I am going to stress that you need to give it a full listen before you judge.
Yeah.
The opening track takes a little bit of time to get going, but I think you'll find that these guys really do rock.
You know, the thing is, you mentioned about sort of taking a little bit of time getting into it.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but some of my favorite albums of all time are the ones that I didn't initially get into it at first because they were a little strange, a little bit left of what I used to.
That's a good point with, I think, most of the music genre today is that everything is digital. And as someone a little bit newer to collecting vinyl, I mean, I've been collecting vinyl for probably 10 years now, but as someone who just started recently really collecting it, I find it's way more impactful to actually put the record down and be forced to listen to one whole side.
Absolutely.
Before you change the channel or change the song.
Yeah, no, that's so funny that's so true, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, it's something people I think take for granted today, is that it's so easy to just skip the song if you don't like it. But these guys put a lot of work into making sure those songs made sense. And
yeah, again, to your point, that sometimes it was the third or fourth track on the second side
before it clicks. Yeah,
I was just like, what is this crap? And then when you listen to it enough, you know, it sort of sinks in and you get it, and then that's your favorite thing for a while.
No,
you know?
for sure.
Dude, okay, so cool. So obviously, we would love to know if you had to pick your recommendations, your hidden gems, your desert island albums from the 80s. This one's just the 80s.
Just 80s.
So many to choose from, though. We'd love to know down in the comments.
And I will definitely be down there reading them.
Yeah, me too. Because
I am always looking for new bands.
Always, I know.
Yeah. And this was a great opportunity. I love doing this research and finding these bands. Some of these guys I'm gonna be listening to for a very long time.
Yes. I've been listening to my albums a lot too, because some of these I'd listened to, you know, and I was familiar with, but then putting them on this week, I'm like, oh my god. I missed that album. It's so good, you know. So, dude, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at rockheartclothing.com. That's where you can get this fine T-shirt and many other pins and patches and all that kind of good stuff. All designed by me.
Yep.
That's kind of my thing. And then you can find me on Twitter at rockhearttees and on Instagram at rockheart, ROCKHART.
Yeah, you guys should definitely do that because I wear his T-shirts a lot in my videos, and people are always asking me where I got them. So, definitely check it out. All right, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and take care. I had a great time hanging out with Andrew that day, and I didn't mention it in this video, but he is the graphic designer that also created the Atari Walkman sticker that I put on the top of that prototype. If you've seen that video, you know his work. The dude is very talented, so definitely check out his website. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching.